Man, how I missed that. We are finally back after how many weeks gone? Absent have we been? 2?
2 years.
I went to public school, so I don't know numbers. You know that. I just pretend I know numbers.
I just know numbers from the great Nicolas Cage movie. That's how I know math.
Yeah. I would love Nicolas Cage as a teacher, though. He would really get me like pumped for everything he talks about.
Oh, he probably has to. He's going to need the money.
Yeah, he literally is in everything.
Hey, get this, kids, on the back of the Declaration of Independence.
I think he has more 1-star movies on Netflix than most actors ever make.
Right. He's got it's like a 1 for 10 track record. But it's crazy because like I still see him in these movies. Like I see his face pop up on like the title cover, and you're like, man, I should watch this movie. It's got Nicolas Cage in it. But I learned my lesson a few years ago when I like rented one from a video store that, you know, when they still existed. But it was like,
was it the last remaining Blockbuster?
It was Family Video. I think that's still kicking. Right?
They still exist. Yeah,
still is.
I was in Brockport. That's still there. There was people still going in it.
It's great though, man. It's reasonably priced. Like Redbox is cool, but kind of like, because I always go with Redbox at Wegmans, you know what I mean? Rent a video, and then you want to go back and like return your video, but going through that parking lot is just a mess.
It's not worth it.
No.
Oh yeah, it's one of the pits of hell there, the East Ave Wegmans parking lot.
There was a story that was one of the 7 circles of hell.
Yeah, that was it.
That was a good story.
Where was that on? It was like Reddit.
I saw it on Facebook. It was a random thing where like someone in Rochester wrote like a joke story about how it's one of the rings of hell. Getting out of that parking lot.
At their busiest moments, you have like 2 cops there. It's like we have to use taxpayer money to help people get in and out of Wegmans.
Well, if they literally made 2 separate parking lots. If they just kind of combined them and found a different way to...
Isn't one for like employees or something like that?
No, they park underneath Wegmans. There's a giant...
Yeah, that's what...
No, they need to put like a giant... Well, I was talking about walls in America. They need to put a giant wall in the middle. Like people going to university can only park on half it, and people going east to park on the other side. There's a giant wall in the middle, so you can't cut through. You know, some people cut through to get to the other side. Like, you need to put a wall on it and be like, the people who live on this side, park on this side. The people who live on this side, park on this side. And then you want to have, like, all the madness of people trying to, like, cut lanes and cross through.
Yeah, but then you'd have, like, communist Rochester and capitalist Rochester.
Yeah, and we'd be on the capitalist side, and shitty University Ave can deal with their communist side.
And if you notice, though, like, East Ave Wegmans is literally Wegmans... half Wegmans, because literally they have half the fucking selection of normal Wegmans.
The aisles are the smallest aisles I've ever seen in any grocery store. 2 mini carts can barely fit in together.
Yeah, I've been in there with people who just get pissed because they're just like, they have this at this Wegmans, they don't have it at East Ave. And it's like,
I don't shop there. I mean, if I'm going to go to Wegmans, I'll go to like the, not Pittsford, Parrington, because like I work in Victor. You know, like the one if you go up. Like, it's right there, and then you get back on 490. I'd rather go to that one. It's super busy, but it's also big, and...
Chai-Lai.
I never went to Chai-Lai.
Chai-Lai's nice. But you know what's a really nice Wegmans?
What?
Ithaca.
Really?
They have a dry cleaner.
Is it gorgeous?
They have a what?
They have a dry cleaners in Ithaca, like, run by Wegmans. And a daycare.
they all have dreadlocks and are trying to sell you, like, crystals. Oh, by the way.
That'd be great.
Speaking of crystals, guess who's doing a free fucking New Year's Eve concert?
Crystal Meth?
For the 3rd time this year. 3rd time coming to Rochester.
Is it your band you hate?
Rusted Root.
Back on this.
Like, literally, they're like...
For New Year's?
Yeah, a free show.
So they're going to send us on our way into 2018.
Right, and actually, now that you said that, that's how they're going to probably end 2017 with that
Josh
song.
is going to be there furious.
Let's go there and sell Keeping It 1492 exclusive crystals.
Yeah.
And you can finally pick it down.
I'm a part of this Facebook group called The Deadlock because I like the Grateful Dead. But there's like, their fan base is like some of the coolest, but like the weirdest fucking people I've ever seen. But like, they have people who like post ads for crystals, and that's like, this one will increase your aura. And I'm like, what? How the fuck? $500, and they're like literally super expensive.
When I was
some good fucking...
A lot of people are super into them.
Yeah.
When I was subbing, there was this one substitute teacher who landed a long-term sub gig, so she was there for like a month or something, and she got fired because she started teaching the kids about crystals in like an earth science class or something.
Really?
And then like
That wasn't
like the healing
allowed.
power of crystals.
Oh, right.
It's like you can't you can talk about how crystals are formed by like cave drippings, or I don't know science,
Right.
but she was just like this one will increase your optimism, and this one will
Do they still teach creationism in school though? Like alongside like how Earth actually formed?
no.
Okay, so like
I don't think they ever taught creationism.
I don't know. When I was in school, they taught both.
I mean, you might have certain teachers who
It was in the books. They had to like bring up like some people think this.
Oh.
You know, like,
So they
not like they
touched
taught us
base on
both the whole thing, but like when they're talking about like how the Earth was formed and all that crap, they're like,
Yeah.
And some people believe the Earth was formed this many years ago, and as this teacher has a grin on his face, but he's like, I have to say this. It's in the book. Like they want me to say this. So I'm like, that's why I'm like, if they teach that, then why can't they teach that a crystal makes your aura better? But if they don't, then disregard that thought process.
I don't think the state's going to say, like, when you talk about rocks and minerals, make sure you bring up how some people think that they are beneficial for your health.
The ruby crystal has healing powers, but the sapphire crystal is there for comfort. I don't know, whatever they.
How many crystals have you purchased?
I haven't.
Do you have like a whole like crystal room?
I've seen people try, like literally. I'm not even joking. I've seen people with like wooden boxes full of crystals trying to sell them on the lot, and they must be making some decent cash, or like even selling one of those fucking crystals. But everyone who's selling these goddamn crystals looks like the dude you don't want to fucking deal with. You know what I mean? He's just all grody. And
are these also the same people from the cult bus?
No, they're actually like a religious sect of the Grateful Dead fandom. They're called the 12 Tribes.
Are they like Jesus religious, or
like
some other thing?
Yeah, but hardcore. I think even harder than that. Like they use the backdrop of the Dead scene to kind of lure new people on to this like cult.
Yeah, every time it gets brought up, the people that like to tell them they'd never go on the bus. Not that I would ever be at one of these concerts. They're like, you don't go on the bus when you go to these things.
Hey, you know who we are really grateful that is dead? Jesus Christ, because he died for our sins.
The original hippie.
He did it with that beard and that hair,
dude. If I was Jesus, I could turn water into wine. First off, how did they get? Actually, it could have been like a fertile crescent, right? At that time,
that's Mesopotamia,
right? So it was like nice. It was kind of like
they followed the Nile, and like all the grass and the grains they grew right off the Nile.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was Egypt.
Isn't that the Fertile Crescent? Am I thinking
the
wrong
Fertile
place?
Crescent is the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in modern day Iraq.
I'm not good.
So that was all once. All right, sorry for.
I'm not good at my geography.
The stoner in me's question. This was all like fucking lush green land at one point.
It was lusher than it was thousands of years ago, because the climate was a little different. But really, it was along the rivers. It was still very like dry and desert-like, but by the rivers you could actually grow shit because of the fertilizer coming up from the rivers, the silt.
So yeah,
I just taught this shit.
Sand,
wow.
yeah, you'd had instead of like the sand it is now, like 2,000 years ago. Plus, there's more water, so certain like a mile out, they could grow like lots of grain and stuff like that, and it was hence the name the Fertile Crescent.
Do you know one of the most fascinating things to me? And I'm sorry, this is once again.
Your poop's green if you eat too much bad food.
No, but that's more like, woo, that is kind of fascinating though. It really is. It's like, wow. Is how the first emperor of China, like he's still entombed in this, and it's like it's now a mountain. So China won't let anyone dig in it, but supposedly, the rumor has it, he has like a miniature China made completely out of gold, and the rivers are mercury. How fucking sweet is that?
Yeah, that's the same emperor that made the terracotta soldiers. They've dug up a lot of those. So he had like thousands, maybe even like tens of thousands of soldiers made out of terracotta. They were all painted
and all different. They all completely different.
Wasn't that
facial
his army
features
to protect him in the afterlife or something along those lines?
And they thought that the rivers of Mercury were legendary at first, but then they've dug certain parts of the soil and found like a shit ton of mercury levels in the soil. So they're like, oh, I mean, how many rivers are real?
How many thousands of years ago was that? Like the first
he had like full palaces. That was
was it BC or
Yeah, it was BC times. It
like,
would have
what,
been
20,000?
it would have been like little bit. I don't know how much is a little bit, but a little bit after like Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is like the first civilization that spread up, like the first people that farmed and built cities. But then Egypt a little bit after, China and India a little bit after that. And it's weird because they all did this stuff independently, like within like the same 1,000 years or so.
Right, and they really had no idea of the other, did they?
No, they ended up trading with each other. Like ancient China would trade with like ancient Egypt, which is pretty cool.
Right.
I mean, with
I could only imagine a fucking like a swap market back then. You like think like the public market's like hell today. Imagine it back then, like people who don't understand each other just like, okay, yeah, here's some paper. Wow.
It's like how much you want for this mummy poster? You guys don't got mummies in China,
Right? Ooh, I would really.
It's actually wasn't that old.
Can I pay you $2 for this Bee Gees CD? I mean, really, Bee Gees are underrated.
I had to go history. Kyle, he died in 210 BC, so in the grand scheme of things, it's not that old. It's only 2,200 years ago.
The first emperor of China?
Yeah, he died.
Was that Shui Han Di?
Yeah, Jin
No,
Shuang.
he was Shui Hongdi.
Yeah, it says he died 210 BC, so
Yeah, I guess the
It's not
Greeks
like-
were before that and everything.
but it's not like we're talking like ancient Egypt, like it's 7,000 BC with the first kingdom type of.
Well,
like,
they
that back.
had like civilization long before that though, but that was like
He's the one that unified China.
Yeah, that's like the great emperor who
And then we got gunpowder
had all that
and
power.
fireworks and cuneiform.
Well, why
That
wouldn't,
was
to
the
me,
Mesopotamian
why wouldn't
thing.
you, like, open up his tomb? I understand there's something like...
It's
let it rest
probably a
in peace.
very, very sacred thing.
Right.
You know,
Well,
the
how
first
fucking-
emperor.
haven't you seen Big Trouble in Little China?
Haven't you seen
kind of shit
National
would happen.
Treasure?
Yeah. Do you think we're going to open up George Washington's tomb?
We've got to save the Declaration of Independence.
You know, you got to steal it. You got to steal it.
No. No, and this... So it would be
I'm gonna
National
have
Treasure
to kidnap
3.
the president. Oh shit! I really shouldn't say that on the air. But
You want to get us bad press?
quote by Nicolas Cage.
Threatening to kidnap our
Actually,
president is a great way to get
He's
bad
going to
press.
star in a movie called Burning Man, which is kind of loosely based off of Wicker Man, but set at
One of the
Burning
best
Man.
films ever made. Wicker Man is so good. I love Wicker Man. Nick Cage can do no wrong.
And that was a remake.
I just know the Iron Maiden song "Wicker Man." It's pretty good. Maybe that.
Do they
rolls in
really
the credits.
have a song called Wicker Man?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was
Iron
thinking
Maiden's my favorite metal. I hate hair metal, but Iron Maiden just isn't really hair metal to me. Mm-hmm. They're just like, I don't know.
Oh, so I'm fucking... You just brought that up. I'm at World Gym, and I'm working out, and guess fucking Dave Mustaine walks in.
What?
Dude, so he's literally working out right next to me. So I take a
I thought
picture.
he had a lot of health problems. And
Dude,
stuff.
Who's that?
the
He's
lead
the-
singer of Megadeth.
Yeah.
He lives in Rochester?
No, he was... So, because I saw him, I'm like, that looks like Dave Mustaine. So I like took a picture of him, and I'm like, Nick, I think Dave Mustaine's next to me. And then I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, they're playing in Rochester tomorrow night. So it was Dave Mustaine, and everyone's like, you know, like the few people who knew it was him were like gathered around him and just like talking to him. But he bought like a protein shake and stuff. And then like, I've never had a story where I was near someone famous, so like now that's my one story.
Really? You're near two famous people right now.
Yeah. Hey,
I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
hey, so a lot happened this week. I think we want to keep it lighthearted, but a lot happened this week. We had another mass shooting that isn't domestic terrorism. It was just a guy shooting a gun.
Not terrorism, everybody. It's okay. We don't need to respond to this as if it was like a Muslim or black guy that did it.
No.
So okay, don't sound the alarm.
But if it was, maybe the situation... So my only thing with it is all I'm asking for is a little mental health check. You know, a little mental health regulation.
Mental Health Day?
Well, like they need to at least do that because you have to go through more loopholes to drive a fucking vehicle.
And get a
know what I
gun.
mean? Right. And I don't even want to own a gun, but people who love guns, they love them and they don't want to get rid of them. And I don't think anyone wants to take your gun, but we can all can and should agree on that there should be mental health regulations to get guns purchased.
Yeah, it's pretty disheartening to see all the conspiracy theories already around this. The
They
first
were,
one I
they
heard,
were instant. It was like 3 hours later.
someone I work close with recently, someone I really respect and everything, just immediately thought this, the morning after, we didn't really know that much about the guy or anything, but he was just like, I think this could be related to Antifa or the far left. Just wait. And I'm just like, oh my God.
He got that off an old white guy who probably had mental health issues shooting up a country concert festival.
Yeah, well, because he thought that, they're shooting up a country concert and they don't like Republicans who like country or something. And also, I looked on social media. Of course, that is one of the conspiracy theories going around. There were like fake Antifa accounts, Antifa's not like even an organization. They pride themselves in being anarchists who don't
no
organize.
central organization.
And
Taking selfies, like
Kyle,
"Works
how many
at
Antifa accounts did you create right after this? How many dozens?
24.
Kimberly and Beck, the show I don't want to listen to, that I shouldn't be given a fucking shout out to.
Why do you plug everything you hate on
Fuck
this?
you, Kimberly and Beck.
Just everything
No,
you hate
but like
about
they
the
posted,
city you promote.
they're like, see the gunman's body now, and I'm like, my morbid curiosity, like I was like, what? And I'm like, they wouldn't post that. They're too stupid to post it. They fucking posted a fucking image of his fucking, his head after he fucking blew his brains out.
Was it definitely him, or was it just like...
Yeah. It's like, they showed the whole hotel room, but it was just like, what to me is very interesting about this whole thing is just how unassuming the guy was, and like we're probably going to find so much out within the next month or two, where we always do, but like it was just he was unassuming.
But regular guy, I haven't followed the
he
details.
was very rich. Like he would blow $30,000 at the casinos every day.
Okay, so he's wealthy,
right?
And he had multiple houses.
Worked for the IRS.
Yeah, and what I was getting at with the conspiracy theories is just to follow what you were saying. I feel like people would rather believe in ridiculous things than admit, like, yeah, sometimes people go nuts. Like, sometimes they go through madness slowly and it goes unnoticed, and those people can still have access to guns. But, I mean, probably more importantly is they're not getting easy available help for their mental illness because of the stigma of mental illness, because the access to that sort of thing. I mean, he was wealthy, he could have had access to it, but since a lot of people don't,
I think he stockpiled like 60 guns, but he had like an arsenal at his house, and he must have made like obviously multiple trips up and down to get all those guns in his hotel room.
And people are wondering, like, oh, he's like running back and forth, he's an old man. Could have been on meth. That's pretty big down there.
Also, I don't know. I mean, if you have that many weapons, he could have lined them up one at a time to like.
Well, they said he had like 2 tripods going, like, so 2 different,
like remote controlled, like Rambo style.
I don't think they were remote controlled.
Like you just hit a button and
but
it just goes.
Like 2 windows were blown out, but they're relatively far apart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he had a suite, so it was almost like 2 rooms like combined.
But wasn't he? So he was firing one gun at a time, though.
Yeah, I think he would like fire one gun, then like run to the other, but they were already like set up and ready to go. Apparently.
Oh, really? So the guns were propped.
Yeah, so like, he probably had them like on the bed or like against the wall. Obviously, like plan this out.
You have to be like, the crazy thing to me is the guy. I guess you can say he kind of had the American dream, as in most people want to be rich, right? Rich and kind of well off. He didn't have any financial troubles. It seemed like to anyone, you're like, well, how could this guy possibly do it? I think that's the most interesting thing that's going to come out. How could he possibly like?
That's where a lot of probably the controversy stems from, because he's such this normal person living the American dream. Like can blow thousands of dollars and still be fine. That's like there's no way that person would want to hurt and maim as many people as possible and kill.
I think
that's where a big part of the controversy comes, because he's too normal to do something like this.
If he wasn't white, people would, even if it was
if he was any other ethnicity,
if he was black, Hispanic, even if it was the same circumstances, just somebody who was living well off and then went off, people just in our racist minds, even if you're not racist, it's just part of our life. So you would immediately think, well, maybe there was some racial resentment somewhere.
Well,
but since he's white, you don't think that.
Why are 64% of mass shootings committed by white males, middle-aged white males?
Midlife crisis.
What is...
Or
because don't they
feel
say...
that you're losing your privilege when really you're just...
Do you think something's like racially
supremacy.
motivated? Because I know we've talked about like that, being, a white male in America is supposed to be absolutely amazing, right? It's supposed to be the best. Like, you're set if you're a white male. You have more advantages being a white male.
But I think a lot
I
of
don't
older...
know about the racial thing, because like not to judge, but
right,
country
but,
music is a pretty majority. If you figure a country music concert, again, not profiling, but you figure 90% of that concert is going to be white. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just you think about country music. That's probably not a too far off assessment. Like if it was racially motivated, because there was also the thought that Chance the Rapper had a concert, like outdoor concert, either that night or the night. I just saw the headline, so pardon me for my ignorance right now. I could be wrong. Where they thought that he was trying to target a Chance the Rapper concert and got the outdoor venue mixed up. Again, I only read the headline real quick.
No, he did. He was looking at he was actually checked in to other hotels in Vegas while he was checked into Mandalay Bay, and
like he scoped out which the most populous one was.
Yeah, he was considering the other outdoor concert. Think, but
also Lollapalooza, he rented hotel rooms for and didn't show up.
I mean, it's like Ed Gein. They said he would more often than not he would show up to the cemetery and not dig up any bodies. But then some of the times he did.
So just something clicked. Wow, something just clicked on that night, and he's like, "I'm going to do this tonight."
Mm-hmm. So it's some mad plan he probably had rattling around in his head for a long time. His family said that, you know what, it was completely unexpected to them. They thought, he's living a great life, loved his girlfriend and everything. But then they interviewed the workers at the Starbucks in the town he lived in, and the people at the Starbucks said that he would treat his girlfriend like shit. Like she would ask for his casino card so she could buy something, and then he'd be like, I'm buying you a drink and I bought you. So shut up. And then she'd just kind of be like, okay, whatever.
I think you're going to have because this is so fresh, the people that know him are going to have this, I don't want to say idolization, but they're going to paint him as this normal person. Like, I can't believe he did this. And then as we know, as more stuff gets out, you're going to see that he probably was sick or did all this stuff that...
Yeah, that's
they're not going to say, they want to build it like he's... you don't want to be friends or be a family member of someone that does something like this and not know or be... Because you're just be like, how did I stop this? Like, oh my god, he just killed 900 people. Like it's... I mean, not, again, idolization was probably the wrong word, but characterization, you're going to try to make that person look like not a crazy psycho that just tried to kill 1,000 people.
Yeah, they're trying to build a psychological profile of him, and, he didn't have a manifesto, he didn't have...
He left a note, but they have yet to...
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, it wasn't like a suicide note, but it was more like a... I don't know if it was just kind of explaining something. We'll probably see what it is in the next few days, but I'm trying to... Do you think boredom could be a reason, though? You know what I mean? You ever think of that? Like, when you have absolutely everything, you're just bored? You're like lack
in
of
a way, I mean,
anything?
It could go along with going mad, because it's like you might have all this kind of resentment and then just put the blame on who knows what his reasoning was, but he might have had just some batshit reason to hate outdoor concerts or like modern life, or God knows what.
Dude, and all these fuckers fucking, you're so ballsy to go and kill all these people, and then you fucking kill yourself. Like, you can't even stand up for your goddamn crimes. You know what I mean? Like, you have that much... To me, it's like the easy way out at that point.
You wonder if he was so... his madness... Because that's what it seems like. It's most likely. His madness caused him to be like, everyone's gonna know why I did this. Because he was so sure of himself, from planning this for a long time. But then, obviously it's very confusing to us.
I don't know, it seems like this was his way. I mean, he killed himself right before once the police finally found out where the shooting was from in the room, he killed himself before they could enter. Mm-hmm. Right? It's not like he got shot and he killed himself before they entered the room. So, I mean, this was always going to be his out when he did it.
They were saying that he had plans to escape. I don't know how.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I'm like, how are you going to...
They'll never know the hotel was in my name. How am I going to possibly get down 32 fucking flights of stairs, like...
We had the camera
'Cause how
outside his
long-
door that he set up.
Right.
So he
Did
could
they
watch
say
when
how
they-
long it took the police to respond? Because obviously that has
I think it was like...
It's a very frantic
I think it took
situation.
them like 9 minutes to respond to like get to the scene, but then it took like an hour for them.
Was
to
he still
get up
shooting
there.
while the police were
It took
responding?
an hour to get up there?
That's... At first I thought it was a lot less than that, but I could have sworn I heard yesterday it was an hour.
Dude, it was honestly surreal. Like, I was thinking...
Well, it happened so late. I woke up in the morning because it happened at what, like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. our time on the East Coast?
Right.
Yeah, so
It was like 11 in Vegas,
yeah.
right?
I was thinking last week, and it was the same thing. So I had a few thoughts, and I'm not even joking. One, when is Hugh Hefner going to die? That dude's a motherfucking old. Hugh Hefner kicked the bucket. Two,
You called it.
when we haven't had a fucking mass shooting in so long, or like, you know, on a large scale. Wonder when the next one's going to be. And then literally happen again. I'm going to stop thinking these thoughts because, like, I feel like every time, even like Tom Petty, like, I feel like, you know, R.I.P. Tom Petty, by the way. A fucking
Right, do you
legend.
guys want to know the official timeline real quick?
Yeah.
So the first shots were fired at about 10:05 p.m. The first breach they entered the room was 11:20. They finally got in the room at 11:27. So it was an hour and 22 minutes from the first shot to actually getting in the room.
How does it take that long to get up there?
Well, I know I've seen a bunch of stories that are talking about like how does it. Obviously, it's a crazy situation. So a lot of sort of this other point, like why did it
Well,
take an hour
that's
to
also
find it?
fueling the conspiracy theories because a lot of them are saying that there's a smoke alarm system in the hotel.
To give you
Wasn't it
context,
going off, though, on his
It
phone?
should have went off just from his rapid gunfire. And
According to this, though, actually at 10:05 the first shots were fired. At 10:12, officers in the hotel were on the 31st floor and announced gunfire was coming from above them. So for an hour, it was an hour, a little over an hour from when the first officers knew where it was coming from to when the door was breached.
what?
At 10:12 p.m., first two officers arrive on 31st floor and announce the gunfire is coming from directly above them. 10:15, the last shots are fired.
10:15, the last shots were
Yep.
fired?
Oh, so
The shots fired at 10:05. 7 minutes later, the cops were on the floor below. 3 minutes later, the last shots were fired. So this was all in 10 minutes. 5 minutes first, 10:05 first shots. 10:12 first officers arrived.
Killing 58 people
Yep.
and injuring over 500 people.
In
so
10
so
minutes.
he stopped shooting shortly after the cops arrived.
Yep, last shots are fired. Oh, sorry. Last shots are fired from the suspect per body-worn cameras. 10:17, first two officers arrive on the 32nd floor. Then a bunch more of officers arrived. 11:20 p.m., the first breach is set off when officers enter the room. They observe the suspect down on the ground and also see a second door that cannot be accessed from their position. They breach the second door.
Yeah,
So even
and
though
they,
it took
and they
that
blew
long,
up.
this
They
was
blew up
only-
the doors because they're afraid that he might have booby trapped them. Or
So
something.
even though it took that long to actually get in the room, in a matter of 10 minutes, he shot and killed everyone and
probably
shot
killed
himself.
with it. Yeah.
So all that carnage was 10 minutes.
That's insane.
So reading this, then the officers weren't. It didn't take an hour. According to this, they were there within 7 minutes because they were probably at the hotel. Like they probably have officers around. So
Yeah,
within
that to
7
me,
mi-
because an hour just seems like you're not doing your
Yeah.
job.
See, that's what the story's about. Reading this with the timeline,
Yeah,
it's
so
like
that's
the
what
officers
the-
were there. It's like this guy's killing everyone. Like you're not going to rush right in, but the shots ended in 10 minutes. It's not like he was up there for an hour shooting his guns.
Yeah,
while
that's what the
cops waited.
conspiracy people are
This is the fact they're
trying to
not
say.
bringing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Sorry, now we have a firmer timeline. Now we know. So that 10 minutes, that much carnage.
Tom on the stats.
I had to get. Well, I'm unprepared. I have to get some stats in,
No, it's good.
and we just debunked some conspiracies in the meantime.
This is why we're a quality show here at Keeping It 1492. We have real-time stats.
Yeah, even when we take weeks off, we still got the stats. They
Yeah,
never
and
go
I
away.
like that. And you know what? What we should this country's in a fucking weird point. I think it's always been, and it's only going to get worse. And fucking killing people is just like I am not the most easygoing of people, but I find reasons to dislike a lot of people, right? But I would never fucking kill anybody.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it. Like it was outside a house. They posted a gigantic banner, and I don't usually curse.
Yeah.
Literally, the sign they made it with hand. Obviously, they spray paint this sign was like 20 feet long. It literally just said, "Stop killing people, you fucking twats."
Right.
I'm like,
What it comes down
you could have put it better. Like, just like it's
Yeah.
profane, but it's just so simple. Like, just stop killing people.
It's okay to have your disagreements, but you don't have to fucking get all violent about it.
No, it's very selfish. I think we're very selfish as a country, very individualistic, which can be a good thing in a lot of ways. But we feel like our own experiences, our own feelings are like unique to ourselves, so much that it's like this guy's like, hey, man, my life's boring, my life sucks, so I'm just gonna have fun and take a bunch of people out.
It's sad. Like, how many people's lives are over now or changed forever because one person had access to a military-sized arsenal? Mm-hmm. And it's
like
very
you
sad.
see that cynicism in like a lot of like lower levels. Not so much like,
I don't know. I'm hardcore with that. I don't think anyone should have guns besides officers and police, and people say that would create issues too, but I don't think the average citizen should have guns in 2017. That may be a bit extreme, but that's just how I feel, and events like this just make me feel more with that conviction. I think it's time to wrap it up. This is kind of off the cuff, a lot to think about. We hope we talked about this very serious issue in a not super somber way. So thank you very much for listening to Keeping It 1492. We're finally back after 2 weeks off.
We'll come back next week with some happiness, some Care Bears and shit.
Yeah, Care Bears, candy, giveaway.
Care Bears, Keeping It 1982. We'll be back with the Care Bears.
Anyone got anything to say before we wrap it up besides Care Bears?
Love your neighbor in like a, consensual way.
Don't if they're
don't force your love.
Even if they're just like a batshit gun nut, show them some love.
And make sure you tell the cops.
Yes, please tell the cops.
Oh yeah.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening to Keeping It 1492, and you have a wonderful day.